What's up, fam? Yes, it's Astral, baby. And yes, it is that time again that I share information. You guys know how much I love to share information. And this particular vlog is dedicated to answering some of the most frequently asked questions that I received. Now, you guys write and ask questions that I've already answered in an email or answered on astralboobaby.net under the most frequently asked questions. So before you send me an email asking a question, type in keywords related to your question in Astral Boo Baby and see what comes up first. And then if you find that your particular question has not been answered, then shoot me an email. This cuts down a lot on the traffic. Many of you guys write and send me, you send me emails asking for guidance and direction and feedback that has nothing to do with astral projection, and I don't mind those as well. However, please be mindful that those in emails are, it requires more of an emotional connect. It takes more emotional energy out of me, and I tend to put those to the side and get back to them when I've kind of balanced myself. How and why is this so? It is because when I read your emails, I'm not only reading the words, I can feel the emotion behind it because it's kind of sensitive. This is how sensitive I am. I'm a very, very sensitive person. So if you're depressed and you're hurt and you're angry, whatever you were feeling when you wrote the letter, I can almost feel what you were thinking and going through. And, it's really hard to put into English and truly explaining these multi dimensional concepts, and theories in a very simplistic way using the English language is very tough. It's very, very tough in a way where everyone would understand. But realize that whenever we think or whatever we create, our thoughts and our energies, our emotions become a part of that creation. For instance, when I read an email and I'm looking at the words, those are not just words on an email. Those are your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions manifested in that particular environment. Someone who's very sensitive and who is connected will read that and will take on whatever it is that was created within that particular paradigm or that frame of work or our creation. I'm trying to use that word more frequently because it's very important to realize that our thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness, but not everything is self-aware. So it's rather complex, and I'm going to speak more about that because it kind of ties into some of these questions that I have here. So without further ado, I'm going to answer one of the first questions that I have here. And it says, would you please tell us who are the etheric doctors that you talked about in one of your previous videos? Okay. I cannot answer this without first explaining that, as I've said before, we are multi-dimensional. That means that we are a part of a greater, much more complex system. Most of that system is not within the light spectrum that we see. Of course, you're looking at me, you look in the mirror, you look and you look around you. What you see is what is within this vibratory bandwidth that is related to and bound by the laws of this dimensional physicality or physical reality, so to speak. There are other parts of you that is not within this light spectrum. Okay, we have an etheric body. The etheric body is an exact replica in size and mold of the physical body, organs and all. It's the exact replica. And with this replica, because it is it's the life force of the physical body. Let's put it that way. And it has the all of the replica of all the organs, even reproductive, all of it, everything is there. But it is a much subtler, lighter, vibrating body. Most of us cannot see it and is not aware of it because it is vibrating on a different dimension. When I speak about etheric doctors, I'm talking about beings who are made of the same material. Remember when I talked about how spirit would appear to be solid and physical to spirit. Astral would appear to be physical and solid to astral. Physical appears to be solid and physical to physical, etc., etc. All of these are a part of our multi-dimensional nature. We are focused and physical, but we also are part etheric. We have emotional bodies. We have an astral body. The astral body is a smaller copy of the physical body, but it has no internal organs. It's a matter of what we shift our consciousness into. Now, although we have all of these different aspects of our existence going on, most are not consciously aware of one over the other, or maybe we are aware of two and not the rest, and it gets a little discombobulated. Someone who is one or in complete oneness is connected to all levels, be it consciously or through a feeling. And not only that, they are connected with other aspects of themselves and the greater whole included. So when we talk about etheric beings, we're talking about beings who have not or are not incarnated in physicality. Some people have called them angels. Now, I use these terms like angels, and I put definitions, general definitions on these things, because I understand that many of us have to have a frame of reference to understand these things. And so some people may have called them angels. They generally appear, it's shimmery, bright, white, pure light. Or we will see a form like a typical head, and you see a body, but not necessarily any definitive features, and we will see what appears to be wings, or a bright white light around their auric field. And these beings are so connected to the element or their elements, their pure energy, and many times what they do, particularly those of us who have very, very challenging missions here, they come in, and if we are, for instance, out of balance with the physical body, if there's sickness or something developing in the body, if we ask for them, or if they sense that there's a distortion in our vibratory field in connection to our life force or physical body, they will come in and they will work on the physical body. Now, when they come, it feels as if they are working with your physical body. It feels just as physical to the physical body, because at that point when they come in, our consciousness becomes split. It becomes aware of the physical self and aware of the copy, the etheric copy. So when they are touching and feeling the etheric body, it feels as if they are touching and interacting with the physical. But of course, this is not what is actually happening. So when they do the work, the healing, the repairs in the etheric body, when the etheric body merges back or molds back with the physical, the work that they've done eventually molds and works in conjunction to the physical body. So it kind of collapses on itself and repairs things that are going on in the physical body. So when I talked about the etheric beings coming, it's because I had a break. My emotional body was off, and then I had like spasms in my back and my abdomen, because there was just a lot going on. I had a lot of stress that was manifesting in my body. And, by my own request, they came in and they worked on the etheric body so that the etheric body can ultimately blend and merge with the physical and repair and balance what was damaged, so that I can continue doing this kind of work. Okay? So, I'll talk more about that at a later time. But again, these beings have been deemed as angels, elementals. People have defined them in different ways, but yes, they do exist. They are just not bound by the laws of physicality in the way that we understand. All right, question number 2. What do you mean when you say that we are multidimensional? Again, I already touched on that. That means that, say, you are a universe unto yourself. Okay, you have a physical body. You have billions and if not trillions of cells with their own DNA doing their own thing. You have all of this stuff going on, and the brain, and then you have the emotion body, astral body, etheric body. You have a spirit, the soul, and then you talk about the connection with other aspects of yourself that goes way beyond this. So if we were truly one and connected with all aspects of ourselves, we would then tap into, or at will tap into, any aspect of our dimensional perception at will. Most of us are doing bits and pieces of it here and there, but those of us who are calibrating at 1000 are connected to all areas, be it consciously or feeling, or both. There's that oneness there, feeling the connection to everything around you, all of your multi-dimensional cells, and so on. This is what we mean by being multi-dimensional. How are you able to determine the calibration or consciousness level of people and the planet? Well, what I do is I use the dowsing. It's partly due to a dowsing technique that I had gotten from another a light worker, and I will put that link underneath this video so that you guys can cross-reference that video. I'm not going to go into a lot about that. It's in conjunction. I use it with this in conjunction to my own creative charts, my intuition, and it's quite simple when you think about it. Think of it like, let's say, your body. Your body has trillions of beings, and you have different cells within it, and if you would like to get the temperature of that body, what do? You get a conduit, perfect conduit to know what's going on in your body, to measure the temperament. You get a thermometer. The thermometer has it has definitions and numbers on it, so that if you put it within or somewhere in or around that collective physical body, you can get a read on whatever it is, be it a fever, the blood pressure, the heart rate, etc., etc. Now think of humanity as one body, okay? And there's a subtle cord or a thread of energy that connects all of us. All of us are connected, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. And because of this connection, if the intent and we have the right conduit, be it a chart in conjunction to intuition, or whatever the case may be, we can then use that conduit to get information from the collective body, similar to how we could get a blood pressure or a heart rate, etc., etc. It's quite simple. Again, think of humanity and the earth, the entire earth, as one body. And think of the intent and a conduit or tool that would help us or you to tap into and get a read. This is true for not only getting a calibration reading, this is true for determining and the calibration level of individuals, or determining the energy levels of individuals. Those of us who calibrate at the highest rank, meaning we are totally one, and we this oneness of everything is felt and is realized on all levels. We are connected. We don't have a separation. We're not in ego. So we are more prone, or more apt, or more equipped to use conduits or tools to measure the collective body or individuals. All right, the next question. Does our astral body have internal organs? I already answered that in the first, because I talk about how the astral body is a replica of the physical, but a smaller, much smaller form of the physical. And no, it does not have any internal organs. It does not. It's really just more like a, much like everything really, but just on a more, even more subtler level, a copy of the astral forms that that we are part of that creates that part of our multi-dimensional selves. I hope that makes sense. If we have been different life forms or beings through many lifetimes, how will we or our ancestors appear to us when we see them after they or we pass? Okay, quite simple. Just like we all have a unique fingerprint to the physical, we all have our own unique soul, core, essence, vibratory imprint. When we interact with one another beyond this veil, if we do not have our full collection, full conscious memory, we will remember or we will perceive loved ones in the way we last remember them based on that unique vibratory signature, the color, all those things that go beyond the physical that we are tapping into it, that we recognize one another from. So in essence, let's say if you were to see someone who had been a grandmother in your most recent lifetime, you're not fully realized, or all of your faculties are not online. You will remember them or see them in the way you remember, but in a much, much younger form. Why? Because the etheric body, again, remember what I said, it is the absolute replica of the physical. The etheric body stops it stops aging, so to speak. I don't know if aging is the right word, but it basically stops changing the mold at a certain point. So we usually see them, or sometimes they may choose to show themselves in the exact same way that we remember them. At least, and like I said, until we come fully online. Now, those of us who have really evolved the soul, when we leave our physical lives, most of us will not instantly remember everything all at once. We gradually remember everything and realize that we kind of play different roles, and what our mission is, and so forth. So when we go back to the other side, so to speak, and interact with loved ones, I guess it's a case-by-case basis, but most of the time they will present themselves in the way that we last remembered them. Even if they were a child, they may well present themselves as an adult, but you will still know that it is their life force, their energy force. All right. I've been trying to astral project for some time now. I seem to get stuck at the vibrational point. What am I doing wrong? Now, this one is definitely one of the most frequently asked questions that I receive. And truthfully, that I can't give a general answer for everyone because everyone's reason is different. Now, I did do a video some time ago where I talk about the basic reasons why many are not aware or can't astral project or even perceive beyond this particular controlled paradigm. But there are other variables involved as well. And again, that's an individual case-by-case scenario. But I will say this. Some of us are just trying too hard, and we are being somewhat impatient. This is why I'm always talking about raising our vibration, work on the self, slay the ego, begin to eat things that with healthy living enzymes, get away from things that makes you feel as if you are separate from the whole. Work on the self. Because what I found is that when we work on the self, the inside, and becoming more balanced, all these things, it'll just kind of happen. It'll just sort of unfold. It'll happen when the time is right per person. I'm not really one of those people that just say, oh, just run out there and do it, because I understand that it is best to be as balanced as possible before we leap. As I always say, we should always look before we leap and always have the best possible preparation before we take on anything. And so when we work on the self, raise our vibration, and become more aware and recall more of who and what we are, and we put out the intent to do these things, it will just happen. I promise you, it will just unfold itself, and you will be in a better position to manage and handle the experiences when they do come. All right, next question. I've heard that astral projection is really demonic possession. Is this true? Okay. How am I going to answer this one? You know what? I'll say this. If someone believes that, that is true for them. If you believe that, it will be true for you. I don't see it in that way. Can someone manipulate the astral body? Absolutely, 100%, whether you believe in it or not. But possession is a whole nother story, because when someone talks about possession and astral projection, and when they put it in one boat like that, it's basically it's a way of giving all of your power and all of your potential to an external force. And if that's what you believe and that's what you're into and that's what you want to do, it is your reality. You're writing your script. Go right ahead. But again, if astral projection is something that you've experienced and you know that it was a genuine aspect of yourself, do not go with what someone else's definition of that experience is. You have to go with what you feel in your core essence, your soul, your spirit, your higher self, whatever term you want to deem it as. You have to go with that. And at the end of the day, again, knowing that or feeling that we are multi-dimensional beings, everyone astral projects, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. It's just that there's some of us who remember. We remember the separation. We remember coming back. We remember the manipulation. We see what's really going on. We know these other beings who are involved, who are manipulating this reality. We see all of this. We get it, that not everyone sees this. It's almost like waking up in the middle of reality and not knowing how you got there, and you're confused, you're discombobulated. And yes, it's very easy to think and feel that this must be something else working outside of me. But again, this is the importance of getting online and becoming truly self-aware and remembering just how powerful we truly are and how multi-dimensional we really are. We're simply consciousness shifting focus within different dimensional potentials and reality, and creating based on our level of consciousness, or co-creating depending on our level of consciousness from each perspective. All right. What is the source of your information, and how do you know if it is true? Well, how would anyone who is considered to be very knowledgeable in what they do, how would they know what they know? Either through studying, through experience, through analyzing, whatever the case may be. The great majority of my experience, great majority of what I talk about comes from my experiences. And it comes from memory, remembering certain things that I wasn't supposed to remember, but I remember because I never really became of the world. That's a whole nother subject matter in itself. I never totally separated from my greater self, so I retain more memory than most people generally would in the beginning, and I'm becoming, and I have been. I'm not going to say I remember everything, because I don't. It's the nature of being here causes us to remember forget a great deal of things, but I remember enough, and that memory makes me want to investigate and search even more and even further, and I analyze. Then there's a part of what I talk about. I learn from other light workers, or people who are here, who's doing the same kind of work that I'm doing, but within their respective field. You have doctors, you have believe it or not, there are politicians who are light workers, believe it or not. They are everywhere. So they've mastered and learned their field. So this is why it's really important to keep an open mind and learn from each one. The dowsing technique was learned from someone who mastered and basically created a conduit for doing that. And I got it, and I thought, aha, I'm going to take that and put my own spin on it, and take it to another level. Or music, whatever the case may be. You come across something, and it helps you to remember, and you can see it as a tool and make it become something to help you figure out and recall more of who we are. That's what we use to help us to basically prove, show, and become self-realized. So how do I know if these things are true? At the end of the day, I just have to go based on my experiences and what I gather from it, and based on the kind of feedback that I'm receiving from people from all walks of life, people who are very, very, very knowledgeable from a scientific point of view, who are unraveling things that I was talking about years ago. Now, there are a lot of people who watch my videos who knew me way back when. They can tell you I've always talked about these things, and I'm sure many of them thought I was just out of my mind, just crazy, but many of them tell me, hey, you know what? I wasn't feeling or getting it when you were saying it, but now I see it. I get it. I understand. I've had an experience. So, many of the things that I talk about has manifested, has come to life, has unfolded. And my accuracy rate with reading and determining and seeing things as they unfold is very, very high. So at the end of the day, the proof speaks for itself. I'm very analytical, and I am finding so many others who are reflecting and affirming and confirming most of what I have been talking about for a very, very long time now. And for me, that's proof enough. But as I always say, you are to take what resonates for you and leave the rest behind, because what may be true for me and all of the others who resonate with what I'm talking about may not be true for you, because it may not be within your field of experience or your field of acceptance, and vice versa. It's okay. But what I ask is that instead of scoffing something off as crazy or impossible, investigate like I do. Investigate something. You guys send me things all the time and ask me what I think of that person or this presentation or what have you. And I never jump out there and just give a blanket response just because the header may read something that I already know that I may have questions about. No, I take it case by case, and I look at what is being presented, and I discern from there. Because at the end of the day, again, I am you, you are me, and we are everything that we see. We all have a piece of the puzzle. But the minute we sit in judgment and alienate and attack and, push away, this is when we are in ego, and we may well be missing a very, very good opportunity to learn something incredible about ourselves and raise our vibration, expand our consciousness, and become one step closer to getting out of this cycle of insanity, as far as I'm concerned, that we call life. So that's pretty much it, guys. I want you guys to please go and check out the new layout on astralboobaby.net. Some of you guys have bought the bio-chi pendant that I talked about some videos back, and the majority of you, it worked. You've gotten something from it, and I want you guys to know that there is an upgraded version with the design with much higher 7,300 ions, I believe. It's over 7,000. I can't remember it right off the top of my head, but it is more energy. The images, the symbols. If it worked for you, check it out. I'm not saying that this bio-chi pendant is going to work for everybody. Again, one side does not fit all when it comes down to spirituality. For those of us who have found it to be a tool to help in whatever way, you may want to go to the site and check out the upgraded version. For those it did not work for, it's not for you. But there may be other tools and conduits out there that can help you become more balanced, more self-realized. And on that note, family, I do hope I didn't confuse you guys. And please know and never forget that you are loved beyond measure, and happy travels.